Good evening, everybody. My name is Ben Gray, co-founder and chief innovation officer of the Upcycled Food Association. I'm using notes. Some of our panelists are also using notes. We've all had a long day, and we're going to keep it chill and have just a good discussion. So we are here at a time where, as Jamie laid out for us, we've got a lot of issues, right? Last week I was in New York City for Climate Week at a Champions 12.3 event. That group is centered around having food waste by 2030 globally. On Wednesday, we heard President Biden speak at the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health. President Biden, Case was there lobbying. Thank you, Case. We'll hear from him. President Biden announced that the U.S. government is going to put together for the first time a national food loss and waste strategy. So, I actually want to clap for that. We're a bit late, Canada beat us to that one, but everyone in this room hopefully can be a part of helping to craft that strategy and speaking to how we can actually do this, not just from a donation standpoint, which is very helpful, but also from a business and innovation standpoint, that we can really make a difference, right? So we're in this space where we do have a lot of things to think about. Food loss and waste. If global food waste were a country behind the US and China in emissions. Food waste, food loss and waste represents 30%, the lost food loss and waste represent 30% of fresh water globally, 30% of arable land, 8% of greenhouse gas emissions worldwide, 1 billion tons of food annually, which is a $1 trillion problem globally. In the US, ReFed estimates that the part of food waste that is surplus represents $250 billion of lost economic productivity. So Jamie was talking about adding costs, and we're doing that with $250 billion just in this country, right? But the nice thing is, I'm the only person who's going to talk about negatives. We can just talk about some really positive stories from 3 pioneering brands in the upcycled food space. Before we do that, I'm going to tell a bit more about UFA and our background and what we've done to date, and then we'll hear from our pioneers where we're going. UFA began in 2019, the fall of 2019, with 10 founding members. If you're here and you are someone who was in that room virtually or in real life in San Mateo, California, just keep a wave real quick and look around. Thank you. There's one over there too. There's one there. October 2019, member-driven nonprofit trade association. Our mission is to reduce food waste by growing the upcycled food economy. We support members by increasing investment and demand for upcycled products. We improve the upcycled supply chain. We grow the network of companies. And over that time, between the fall of 2019 and today, we've grown to 230 companies in 17 different countries. In May, and a really sweet party. This did not happen in 2019. Thank you, Joy, for putting together. And to the rest of the UFA team, wave your hand if you're on that team. Joy. And also to Atomo and Catapult again for sponsoring tonight. Thank you so much. So in May of 2020, we partnered with the Harvard Food Law and Policy Clinic, World Wildlife Fund, NRDC, Drexel, Food Lab, thank you, John, and ReFed, and a few others to come up with a definition for upcycled food for government, academia, industry, and most importantly, the consumer. That definition, upcycled food, use ingredients that otherwise would not have gone to human consumption are procured and produced using verifiable supply chains and have a positive impact on the environment. That last part, that's the part that hopefully we're all here to really be together on. In 2019, pre-UFA doing anything, the industry by Future Market Insights best estimation was $46.1 billion, a 5% compound annual growth rate. Again, before before any of this was happening, Caue, I'm sure, will tell you about his experience in the early 2010s when he was the only one around. He was trying to get an article done. You were the only one around.
We're going to find 4 companies to put an article. 230 now, so.
Close to 50 companies have upcycled certified ingredients and products. We'll talk about that in a sec. And those ingredients and products that are shown in the Upcycled Certified program have to date diverted close to 1 billion pounds of food. A number that at that meeting before the ReFed conference, we expected to happen in a decade after existence. What is Upcycled Certified? It's the world's first and only certification program that tells the consumer every time they purchase a certified product that they are helping to prevent food waste with that purchase. The scope includes food, beverage, supplements, home care, cleaning products, in addition to other non-durable consumer goods. And we're incredibly proud and inspired to be surrounded with our standards committee by folks who are volunteers who care to put a rigorous certification together. We're also really honored to have as our partner our exclusive certifying body with Upcycled Certified, where food comes from. So thanks, Christina and Vinod, who are here to do this work to really put rigor to what we're talking about. So we know that it's resonating with consumers. After educated, 70% of consumers would choose the upcycled product over a conventional product. The movement's gaining momentum. We estimate over 1,000 products in the US market alone, but we're going to hear about some more great ones. So without further ado, I'll ask the panel to come on up and ask them to introduce themselves. Switch.
Hi, I'm Alex Hickey. I am the Director of Merchandising for the Virtue team at Perfect Foods.
Caue is pleased to be here, founder of Barnana, and let's come and have a seat. Let's also make sure that before we leave, you grab a sandwich. I don't want to see any food left behind. There's no food waste here tonight, so please eat everything. We won't be here waste. No waste. That's one.
Caue Samuel, Chief Sales Officer of Cedric's Fresh, and excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I know that we all have a very long day, so it's great to see everyone here because if you're here, you really care. So it's awesome to see this amazing history.
We're going to go around with one more round and just tell us a bit about what y'all do at your companies, and then we'll get into some questions.
So I lead the category managers that manage everything grocery related, so everything that's not produce and perfect, and also oversee the private label program.
I stumbled upon this food waste problem that we had about 10 years ago when we didn't know that food waste was an issue. So I just had the idea to bring to the US this dehydrated bananas that I grew up eating in Brazil. So I went to visit banana farms, and I realized that up to 20% of everything that they grew was not making the cut to come to the US as export. Not because there was anything wrong with the fruit, it's because they were green but not green enough. And I'm buying those bananas that Jane mentioned earlier that Del Monte was not buying because it was an issue or too much cost. So we realized that doing that, we could help the farmers with a second source of income, and we were reducing food waste at the same time. So never really set out to find a solution for food waste, but saw that problem and found that we could come up with a solution. And every time that you go to farm and get involved where the food comes from, you learn more. So Barnana evolved from only focusing in food waste to agroforestry. We work with indigenous farmers in the Amazon, with regenerative agricultural. So there's a lot to be done. And the beauty is that every time that you go, you see the impact that you're causing to the environment and the people involved. It becomes more than a business. It's something that you really get excited and passionate and something that I cannot stop talking about. So yeah, you'll hear a lot from me tonight.
Sunrise Fresh is a fourth generation family farm and vertically integrated fruit processor. My dad and my grandfather started this company over 30 years ago with the intention of getting 5 cents more per pound for the cherries. Cherry pack outs in California and Washington average 80-75% pack outs. So after it's thrown away. There's nothing wrong with that fruit. Well, my dad and my grandfather were tired of seeing that. They tried it. In 1996, they broke a screen door off the shop, threw some fruit out on the screen door, and forgot about it for a year and a half. Went back out to that screen door, weeds growing through it, dried cherries there. Froze them, forgot about it until 2003, my grandma's freezer goes out. They pop it open, bring that bag out. My dad's like, this should be a thing now. 2003, Sunrise Fresh was born. Since 2003, I had my inventory team go through this. Sunrise Fresh has prevented 110 million pounds of cherries from being diverted to food waste. Yeah, we're just pretty. By the way, founders are awesome. No one can talk like that unless they care. So that is true genuinity. So thank you for what you've done. But
And I just have to get back to it because I didn't know the story about your father. So my father was an architect, and we brought home a broken skylight from the construction site. He left in our backyard. 3 days later, there was dehydrated grass in that skylight. So he decided to make a dehydrator. He put bananas inside. And so I grew up eating dehydrated bananas that he was dehydrating at home. He never made that into business. He was buying all the fruits, cherries, and nuts. It was just a passion project. He's an architect. But at almost 30 years later, I ended up coming and starting to do that, back to the basics. But it's amazing that it's very similar story to how we got started.
Sadly, my dad does not like fruit.
change that.
Who's standing from Barnana?
Yes.
All right, we'll start with Alex. I have notes, like I said, I'm doing it, we're doing it. One of the easiest ways for consumers to understand upcycling is to point to companies like Imperfect. So can you speak to some of the challenges and rewards of being a mission-driven company that's scaling, and in light of the recent Misfits Markets acquisition?
Yeah, so we have 5 private label products right now that are UFA certified, and we carry a large breadth of brands that are UFA certified as well. Many of them are in this room tonight. So we're really passionate about saving food and eliminating food waste. We consider ourselves the unofficial incubator of Upcycled because we really love spreading the word with our customers and really championing the mission. I would say that as far as the Misfits merger, we are really excited about that. Online grocery is only about 12% of total grocery. And as 2 medium-sized companies, I think we really have a big opportunity to grow the movement and push the entire market in a direction that has never gone before and really challenge large grocers and get people more excited about the movement. So we are really excited about the opportunities.
Yeah, it's such cool news.
Yeah.
It's so cool news. Caue, what compelled you to do this? We've heard a bit about it, and what does upcycling look like at Barnana?
Like I said, I didn't start out to upcycle foods, but then that became the biggest thing that we do, and we have been doing from the beginning. So everything that we do is around how can we be more sustainable, how can we live in a better place, how can we help people, and upcycling is a very large part of that because we know that now that it's an issue, and I think we're all here trying to find solutions. And at Barnana, now our innovation and new product development, everything that we do is how can we become even more sustainable? How can we use some of the waste that we are still creating? So I think the greatest thing now is that when I started again, I at one point, not sure who came up with the word upcycling or introduced that to me at the office. So I was like, have you created that word? Where did that come from? Because I had never heard before. And again, it was not an issue that we knew, it was an issue that existed already. So to me, I'm just very happy and excited with how many people care about, how many companies we have that are members of BFA, and how many people are trying to find solutions to this product. And every time that I have the opportunity to talk about the main thing that I want to get across is I didn't set out to reduce food waste, but that's what we do now. There's a lot of companies that are already in business, and I would challenge everyone to go to the supply chain and see how can you become better and more sustainable. And maybe you could be upcycling and you didn't know, and you might improve your margins because we're doing so. So everyone wins. So I think is a time globally that we all need to care and about the environment because we need to work harder. It's an issue that we cannot wait, and we are making progress very quickly, but it needs to be faster. So that's why it's cool that everyone's here to learn more about that.
Case. Wonderful, I got it. At Caue, we're really excited to have people talking about upcycling as the future. Sounds like y'all have been doing it for decades. Can you tell us about just a bit more about the story and how it's like infused within the culture, since it didn't start like that, but now it sounds like it's really going there.
Yeah, one thing I'm a big proponent of is farmers. Being a full generation farmer myself, I always want to make sure that our industry like us are in step with the farmers because over 80% of all land that's farmed in the U.S. is still farmed by family farms. They care about what they grow. They do not want to see it get thrown away. So when it is thrown away and you see our pack outs go lower or a load gets knocked over, I can't say the store's names, but load gets knocked over, they don't like seeing that. My dad and my grandfather had no idea what they were doing when they started. Like Caue said, who knew what Upcycled was in 2005? They were just like, we don't want to see this fruit get thrown away anymore. But going into the future, this Upcycled movement is only going to grow because it has to. We have too much food waste in this country, and it's just, long story short, it's easy to fix. We've just got to get C-suite companies that care about what's on their label, what goes into it. And once that movement hits and sticks, it can be a really beautiful thing going forward. But Sunrise Fresh has had the ability to really scale upcycled ingredients. I mean, this year alone, we're producing over 5 billion dry pounds of cherries that are going anything from bars, trail mixes, everything in between. We didn't know those were upcycled because it's just what we cared about doing. It just happened to be the fact that it fit with what they were doing. And when I saw it in 2019, on LinkedIn, I was like, what the heck is this? This sounds like what I'm doing, but I really don't know. And here we are now. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to see what's coming forward because the future's really bright with this movement. It's not a movement anymore. It's a real thing. It's an established business practice that big companies are going to get behind. I can't tell you how many calls I get weekly of companies that are like, I know Upcycled's a thing. I don't know what it is, but I need it on my shelf. When can you get your product? Like, well, that's awesome. Where were you 4 years ago? Because you've been doing this for a long time. But it's going to be a positive, bright future moving forward, I believe.
And just to add, the easiest way to prevent climate change is reducing food waste, not adding more electric cars or changing the
Yes.
So for consumers, just buying more upcycled products and manufacturers just make more, and we can change it.
That's also not just how
I don't have any notes, so I'm not following a schedule.
it's
Sorry.
according to Project Drawdown and people who have done the analysis on what's the most impactful thing we can do. Just as a footnote there.
Just say that I was not making that up.
That's what I'm saying. Alex, from your point of view, and being that incubator, I love that framing. What's the biggest obstacle to getting more companies and consumers on board with that not movement anymore? What are some of the obstacles?
So I don't think it's a matter of getting consumers on board. I think it's a matter of really getting CPG companies and manufacturers on board. Prior to Getting Perfect, I was at Whole Foods for 5 years and was constantly talking to suppliers, asking them for upcycled product, what can we do together? And I think a lot of them are scared. They don't know how it works. They think it's going to be more expensive. They're really stuck in that. We've always done it this way, so that's how we need to do it. So I think it's really like on us to help educate the manufacturers and let them know there is a demand for this product, there is a need for it, and it's not going to be as out of the box and crazy as you think it is. So I think we have a job as retailers to really help spread the word.
Any thoughts from you?
On the retailer side, it's the idea that it's all too so expensive. Like, I can't believe it. Like, half the time, this fruit they need are free. and I was saying we're making no margins, but when we go out into the fields and into the sheds, they're like, please take this. It's overabundance. We need to get rid of this, and then we're able to upcycle it, value add, and make it a really beautiful product. So retailers just need to know when you're going into something like this that it is a it's supply chain secure too. By the way, like it's all grown in the U.S. Sorry, we're not grown in the U.S., but that was awesome.
There's no bananas in the US, but otherwise,
Yeah. The supply chain secure. The fruit's here, the vegetables are here, everything that we're doing is here. So it's not like that has to be grown more and do more to fill this chain. So.
and on the retailer side, a few years ago, we had this campaign, and it went like, just because you could, it doesn't mean that you should. And it was controversial because we said we're actually milking gorillas, and that we were going to sell gorilla milk to get money and protect them. And it got a lot of press because people hated us all over us. But the whole idea is, yes, you could potentially milk a gorilla, but you shouldn't milk a gorilla. And unfortunately, in the food industry, we do a lot of things just because you can, just because you can make more money. And the whole point was, as a food buyer for a grocery store, sometimes they might be doing things just because they can, and it's not because the right thing that they should be doing. There is a lot of GMO products out there, there's a lot of chemicals, there's factory farming, and we do it, but we shouldn't be doing. And I think we need to get personal. The stores, the buyers need to make the decision to bring the right products, because in a way, consumers trust the stores, that they are making those decisions on their behalf. If they put the product in a place that is easy for consumers to find. So I think that is the great thing about UFA. We are working with the grocery stores. We are expanding that placement. People will be able to find outside the product, so it's easier to make the right decision. We are also busy in our daily lives, and the last thing that you want to go is like be reading every single label and then trying to understand where the product comes from. Some people just buy it, just grab whatever they see. So it's important for us to make sure that when people make those decisions, it's the right one, because again, it should be personal. Every decision we should be doing, we should care about where that is coming from and why that's better for the planet.
I would just add that that's one area where I think that Imperfect really strives to tell the story of the products. And with online, it's so much easier to really like dig in, and customers are really engaged with the product descriptions and with the brand bios because they want to know more and they want to do better.
Right. Caue, how has the consumer perception of sustainable products changed in the last decade? And how does that drive innovation?
I think it changed a lot because, like I said, when I started, we didn't really talk about upcycling, but every time that someone heard about what we did, it's like, this is amazing, you should talk more. But then it went to that stage where I remember speaking at SDSU in San Diego, and a student came to me and said, oh, so you get your bananas basically from the trash, right? Bananas that went bad. I was like, no, they're still green actually when we get that. It's just on the right ripening level, but they're not bad. So I think we evolved a lot from where consumers now understand this is perfect food. There's actually nothing perfect about the food that Imperfect sells. They're perfect food for one reason, size or shape or ripening time. It cannot be sold as fresh. So consumers understand now, and I think like in general, people want to do good. So one stat that I learned recently is that during COVID, the number one purchase driver was the health of the person and how can I be like not get COVID or any disease. And with all the issues that we have in the climate, the number one purchase driver is becoming the health of the planet. So I think that is going to not only for the companies that are already doing, but people from the outside, they realize we need to have more sustainable products, more upcycled products because consumers care. And at the end of the day, is that they vote with your dollars. And I used to get kind of mad when I saw big companies say they're doing this or that. It's just kind of a marketing plot in a way to sell more products. But at the stage is, as long as you're talking about upcycling and food waste and climate change prevention, like I don't care who you are, just talk about it. And I think that's what we're getting, like consumers realize that, and everyone wins.
I want to piggyback off that too. The consumer trend in 2020 completely shifted. People started reading nutritional labels, which is just absurd that it took that long to read nutritional labels. So our specialist products are all single ingredient. It's just the fruit itself. Mother Nature made it perfect. We just dry it down into a shelf-stable product that doesn't require refrigeration. And with that being said, what was the line you had about don't do the right thing because it's easier or something like that?
Just because you could doesn't mean you should.
Dried fruit industry in the last 50 years has been adding 18 grams of added sugar per serving just because they can. And it increased weight, made the product cheaper, and that's what people accept as normal. They thought they were eating healthy fruits. What we've done now is create education for the consumer and the retailer. We provide them data and everything they need to know to buy this product, to be informed. And once they're informed, 75% of people want to buy upcycled products, and that's everything. So education is going to be a big key moving forward, and marketing. It's simple tidbits on the shelves like, buy this, this is what your carbon footprint is reducing, or something like that. But there's a lot of cool things coming forward in this industry.
And just to piggyback to what you said, when I launched the company, I found some of the original suppliers. They said, oh, I tried to do what you're doing before, it doesn't work. When you dehydrate a banana, it gets dark, and Americans don't understand that. It's too ugly for them. So what I did is, I didn't put a window in the bag. So we did a beautiful story package, and then people like, you should put a window. It's like, no, because the product is ugly. If they saw it, they're not going to buy. But now they already paid $4, might as well eat it, and then it's delicious, and they keep buying. So I think like consumers are more open-minded now to products that don't look as good.
My dad did the same thing because our fruit isn't pretty either, and we have no windows.
I used to be your dad.
So much fun. Okay, you sell upcycled ingredients to manufacturers, rather than consumers.
That's a statement or a question?
Next question. What trends are you seeing in demand for upcycled ingredients on the B2B side?
There's a huge shift coming. A lot of big manufacturers, bar manufacturers are getting on this trend. I've kind of already hit on this, but it's really going to be critical moving forward that a lot of these brands are going to want the certification. They want that buzzword. And once it does hit mainstream, which it really is, the big thing, ironically enough, is that I've been selling to a lot of, my family's company's been selling to a lot of the biggest manufacturers for years now. And now I have another selling point to tell them, hey, this is how you can increase your product movement. And with that violator of the Upcycled Food Association on there, on the front of the packaging, it's really going to be a big shift. And ingredients, the beauty of that is that you can't call your product 100% upcycled if it doesn't have all upcycled ingredients, but you can call it partially upcycled, or you can call it out on the product and the branding. And anything to help marketing and move it to what consumers care about is going to be big going forward.
So before I forget, again, I want to thank Atomo and Catapult for helping us put this together. So let's do that again. And we're going to move into this is the thing that all of us want you to remember. So that's where we're going. Yeah, for me, and then I'll let them close it out. For me, I've been on the road for over 2 weeks. I was in Toronto for CHFA weeks ago, New York last week, and here. And when I was in Toronto, I talked with some folks at the show. I was doing rounds, asked them how the show was going. They're like, yeah, it's good. Like, it's not super busy. And I'm like, that is not my experience. People walk by our booth and they see the word and they're like, I should know what this is because I've heard other people say it. So congrats first on being here and knowing what it is, because it is, Whole Foods talked about it as a trend in 2021, the next big thing. And I'm pretty convinced that it's going to be here for a while, right? We know that in order to meet what we have to do that challenge, we need to be here for a while and keep this work going. So thank you. And know that it will be. Like, we're behind it, and all of these wonderful people in this community, these companies are behind it. And just a really heartfelt thanks for being in a place where you're at the start of something that will hopefully, when we all are at a party with 100 times more people, can say we were at this party, and we're really pumped to say that this is where you started, or you continue to form your relationship. So remember that and follow that up.
I would say, at Imperfect and Misfits as well, we're here as a resource for you guys. So lean on us for support. Let us help you through the process. We'd love to taste your products and, help you. We love to taste the products. And, help you and help it again. Together we can help this movement and really make an impact in the grocery industry. So we're really excited to continue the journey, and thank you for going along with us.
Yeah.
I would say in a similar way, if you are a consumer, support companies that are doing the work. It is the best, easiest way for you to help. So maybe buy Barnana and Adding Perfect. The way you're supporting two companies at the same time. And if you have a company, try to do your best to upcycle yourself and become more sustainable. Because again, to me, evolve from just being a business to being really personal and to seeing the issue and seeing the solution. So we all can make a difference. A lot of people say, "Oh, just my own decision is not going to change." It's going to change. If we all do it, it's going to change, and that's what we have to do. So there's a lot of great people here doing this. So it's a very exciting time because, like Ben mentioned earlier today, I was approached by a journalist back in 2014, and he heard about cycling and about Barnana, and he wanted to write an article. And he wanted to get all the companies that were cycling to be part of the article. We couldn't find enough companies to have an article. And that is 8 years ago. So now we have hundreds of members from everywhere doing this. And I'm having a hard time getting articles because there's so many other companies doing it. So it's a great place to be.
Biggest thing for me is that having the ground and those solid co-manufacturers behind them, that for new startups that need help with branding, design, launching, bagging, those are all really intimidating things. That's what startups fresh is. So if you need help, like Alexandra was saying, just reach out. My email's on my LinkedIn. You can really get a hold of me anytime, anywhere. And I just like helping new companies get going, get started, and get moving, because this is an industry that I believe in. And you'd be surprised how many of you eat dried fruit every day that you don't know you're eating dried fruit. So I do want to say that out there. But long story short is, thank you for everyone being here, and I hope, like Ben said, that next year at Expo West or East, that there's 1,000 people here and love making industry.
Sounds like a great problem to have for next year, Rachel.
Yeah. Case is hiding dried fruits in his kids' food. They're like, "Oh, it's not healthy either." Oh, eating dried fruit.
Awesome. So again, thanks everyone for coming out. We have this space for a decent amount longer. The live stream is going to close down. We've got some more food. I think we've got some more drinks. So meet each other, say hi, and thanks for being here.